I've been playing Destiny since Destiny 1's House of Wolves expansion, and it's been an on and off thing since. I love the first one. It was such a good game to play with friends and get lost in for an hour or two or even longer and just have a good time. There was a lot to do and a lot to work towards, so I was ecstatic when Destiny 2 was released, and even now still look forward to what it has in store every time there's a new expansion. However, currently with the seasons constantly giving you too much to do with so much to grind for, I'm feeling pretty burnt out. Here's the thing. I love the gameplay, and I love the lore. I'm waiting in anticipation for the next story beats to hit each week and see how it affects the overall plot. It's just that I don't want to spend all my time in this one game. Story is drip-fed to us week to week despite me wanting to know what happens next, and the available season events, regular strikes, gambit games, and Crucible matches all just get old after a while. I may have been able to play the same thing over and over again a few years ago, but now with time and limited supply and wanting to experience more than just one game, it gets to a point where I just stop playing Destiny in favor for other titles. I can't tell you what a solution to this would be. I wish I could just have all the time in the world to play every game, but with having a regular job, making videos, and life in general, the time for leisure gaming is pretty rare. A lot of what I do now is in favor of making a video or something content-wise, and I'm not a Destiny-centric creator. The only positive I could think of with this system is this. We could still catch up on story developments weeks after they occur as long as it's still within the current season. As I get older, the more I just want to play the game for the story or world building, the lore, and less about the grind to get the best endgame gear, and do it again the next season and the next expansion. This is why I believe I lean towards Final Fantasy XIV a bit more. It does have that grind, but you're constantly served a story for a prolonged period of your playtime, at least where I'm at the moment. I'm a good way into Shadowbringers, and at this point I'm having a blast with it. Let's focus on seasonal events for a moment. I think these events are neat. Like in the past, we've had the Override and Expunge missions, which are neat and very visually pleasing, but doing them over and over again gets old fast. Prior to Beyond Light, we had the Arrival event, and doing those over and over again was taxing. Not because it was just the same thing each time, but generally it was exhausting. You'd have to get super sweaty just to complete it, and I don't want to go hard every time I need to do an event. And the Warmind shit in Season of the Worthy, I went hard during that season, and doing the Seraph Tower event over and over again was just a fucking slog. Near the end, I didn't want to do it anymore, but forced myself to do it anyway just for the completion aspect, and I hated it. Now there's other parts of the game I did want to talk about, so let's start with Crucible. And holy hell. Do I have a lot to say here. Full disclosure, I hate Crucible. The fact that we're all guardians with super abilities just takes out some of the fun for me. I know Destiny is supposed to be a sort of power fantasy, but with all of these abilities, it feels like it makes the game pretty unbalanced, where everyone is superpowered. The chief perpetrator behind my heightened dislike of Crucible at the moment is Stasis. Now before we go on any further, I have dabbled in Crucible since a few seasons ago, and then like right around the time Beyond Light came out, it was broken, and I'm not noticing any fixes or nerfs all that much, but I'm pretty sure there were some fixes implemented. So keep that in mind, because I'm kind of bad at noticing this kind of thing. Stasis, I feel, has made Crucible pretty much unbearable now. The stun freezing aspect has become the meta, and you're at a significant disadvantage if you go in as a different subclass. I know this is pretty split amongst the Destiny player base. Some love it in Crucible, some hate it. I just wish it was tweaked some more to where being frozen wasn't a death sentence. So I was airing my grievances with some friends about Destiny, and they brought up a good point. Shout out to Sir Spooky and Sidran for this one. Weapons tend to get rotated in and out of the loot pool in what seems like an attempt for player retention or to entice players who haven't been on in a while to get back into it. While we'd like new weapons, and while a few do come out, like Dead Man's Tale, we usually just get weapons from past expansions or seasons, and it's just so boring. With the exception of Gjallarhorn. Everyone loves Gjallarhorn. Some loot is locked behind specific modes like Trials. Trials has a specific loot for you to get, being an adversarial game mode and an extremely competitive one at that. I just do not have fun with it. On top of that, my feelings on adversarial Destiny do not help with this at all. This part is mostly about the light level grind and the means to achieve it. Light level determines the power of your Guardian, right? Some activities are locked behind a certain light level for that season. In order to have better chances to raise your light level, you have Pinnacle gear you can chase. Usually this is achieved through weekly activities like playing 3 strikes with the same element burn, and the strike playlists, play Crucible matches, Gambit matches, the Battlegrounds fucking 9 times for some reason. We don't get enough new content in these playlists often enough to keep these playlists from getting stale. I'm tired of running the same strikes over and over again and doing Battlegrounds and playing the same Gambit maps. I want something new. I know a lot of people bring up the Taken King in discussions about Destiny, but I feel that expansion was peak Destiny. Not only did we actually have a great and cohesive campaign that had a story from start to finish, with elements that reverberated through the overall world building, but it housed my favorite raid, King's Fall. That expansion was a banger, front to back, and I don't feel like we've had an expansion like that since. I feel like we got pretty close with Beyond Light and Forsaken, but for some reason it just didn't quite hit the way the Taken King did. This part is just me complaining about things that don't really fit anywhere else, so we're all just gonna have to deal with this one together. Number 1, bring back Red Death. I know we have Crimson, but that's basically Red Death at home. It's not the same, and I want my pulse rifle back. 2, bring back the black and red skin for the Suros regime. That was the best skin for that auto rifle, and I haven't seen it since. I'm having withdrawals. 3, I still don't understand the transmog system. It might be because I don't play enough to give a shit, or my brain is just that smooth, but I just don't use it. 4, give us more large-scale battle scenes to play through in the campaign or story mode. I know you could do it. We all saw that sick-ass intro in Shadowkeep. I want more of that. 5, not enough Anna Bray. 6, not enough Elsie Bray. 7, there isn't a 7, but it's Bungie and we must acknowledge the 7th column. Now that whole fucking fever dream is over. Time for some closing thoughts. Destiny at its core has a lot of room for greatness. I honestly feel the idea of it being a live service is kind of hindering it. Repetitive activities for both regular and seasonal, drip-fed ongoing story, a frustrating multiplayer aspect, and an exhausting grind make for this game that I once played almost daily became something I just don't want to play all that much anymore. I'd be more invested in Destiny if I had huge story chunks to go through, but at the moment, that doesn't seem to be a priority for Bungie. I get you want longevity when it comes to a live service, and I know a lot of people are enjoying Destiny in its current state. It's just not for me. Not anymore anyways. I'll definitely still come back and play a little bit here and there. Maybe do a raid with my friends, assuming my light level is high enough. And maybe have a good time. It's just not going to be an everyday occurrence for me. And who knows, maybe my tune will change when the Witch Queen drops and I suddenly get sucked into it. I'm ready to jump back in for my almost annual return to Destiny, so I'll keep you posted. I hope everyone that enjoys the game so far continues to enjoy it. But for me, I'm burnt out. Anyways, that's all I had for this one. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe buttons. It always helps me out. Let me know what you think about the game in the comments down below. Are you excited for the Witch Queen, or are you gonna kind of give it a pass? Any and all links to my socials can be found in the description down below. You can also find my Twitter and Twitch there as well. And as always, stay hydrated. Hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.